I loved these trips. I was hired by a farmer to transport raspberries from southern Oregon to produce markets in central California. I would load the fresh-picked berries in the afternoon and head south. It was summertime, the weather was warm, and as I drove, it was so enjoyable. As I headed down the grade toward Redding, I had the window down with my hand resting on the rearview mirror back bracing, when suddenly my hand began to sting in the webbing between the middle and ring fingers. I looked down to see a stinger and part of a bee torso protruding from my hand. My mind raced with possible scenarios, but for each there was a good reason to reject it. There was no room to pull a truck safely off the highway for another 2 miles, so I drove on for what seemed much longer, with a stinger protruding from my left hand, clenching my jaw as a coping mechanism to deal with the pain. Fortunately, the added poison did not trigger much of an immune response, so the rest of the trip was as smooth as it could be expected. Each trip included a 2 a.m. journey through a very rough part of East Bay. But I would always get through that stop with no ill effects. Though each voyage contained similar stops, some included occasional additions. But they all included a nap at one terminal in the Bay Area and at the airport of Weed on the way back north. A couple of times I traveled the double-decker freeway on the East Bay. Each time I would duck my head as I fretted about being underneath those southbound lanes and what would happen if the supports failed. That very scenario did occur just a few years later during an earthquake. Now, this is a little like the voyage of life. Many days are similar, yet different. We may have an idea about what lies ahead, but bee stings come without warning. Many times we travel through danger, sometimes without knowing it. As we reflect on our journey, we choose what prism to remember it through. Paul looked back over his life and said, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I've kept the faith. There is reserved for me in the future the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give me on that day. And not only to me, but to all those who have loved his appearing. It's found in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 7 and 8. See, life is a gift to be savored as a journey with the one who desires to share it with us. He will judge its quality through the lens of divine love. For if you forgive people their wrongdoing, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you don't forgive people, your Father will not forgive your wrongdoing. That's Matthew chapter 6, verses 14 through 15. So choose this day to enjoy your journey. It may be similar to other days. It may include a bee sting. It may include a trek through danger. But it will also be a day in a life made into a beautiful tapestry by the master designer. Live in faith, love in freedom. Bye-bye.